needs to start soon. Otherwise, we're going to lose traction. And we need a consistent message going out to the public that we are interested in engaging, and this is the way we're going to do it. We want to receive your feedback and comments as well.
I think, just a comment if I may, sorry, hand up. I agree with what you're saying. I think that during the election campaign and over the months before that, we did, a lot of the councillors here won a lot of support on Facebook. Facebook is not the be-all and end-all of the world, but we need to keep that momentum going. We need to continue those lines of communication that were established.
So there's a proposal, and that's it's just determined. We set up a PR committee, and it's going to meet a bit more regularly with a brief along the lines of what we discussed here, improving communications, all channels. Anyone second that? Chris, second that?
With delegated powers to prepare and publish messages on behalf of the council as a committee.
So, do we all understand what the delegated powers aspect of that means?
Don't have to come back.
We won't come back. So, communications will go out without you seeing them. Be sure we're okay with that. Okay? Yeah. Don't have to be.
I think we should, be able to say whether we agree with the items that are going out. Because some of us might not be happy with what's going out, some might be.
Chris?
So, certainly if you're using things like social media and Facebook, excuse me, you have to post as your individual account. So it won't be clear whether somebody is posting their personal views as a councillor.
No, you can. With Facebook, you can create a page.
You can create a page, but anyone posts on that page as an individual. You won't be able to have.
But the page can post as the council. Yeah. The page posts as itself.
Right. Okay.
I think in this instance, what I'm thinking initially, until the committee gets its head around how it's going to act in the longer term, this would be to formulate messages and to.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that there's no distinction between an individual's personal view and somebody that's speaking. So you're correct. If it came across as Arlesey Town Council page says this, there's a clear distinction between me saying it as a representative of. Yeah, okay.
That's the way to do it.
I think in terms of getting the council up to date with social media, it is not possible to only communicate once a month or once a fortnight when the whole council has met to agree the content of a publication. And personally, I'm opposed to these massive emails that we've been getting recently. That's poor communication. So personally, I would be supportive of keeping delegated powers if this panel is perhaps 4 or 5 members of the council, and the council does have the ability, if that party go beyond the breach, to revoke those powers pretty swiftly. We're meeting every 2 weeks, we could do it for 2 weeks. So
just as a point of order then, picking up on that, will this council have the opportunity to revoke delegated powers on a committee?
Well, you're now looking at reviewing your standing orders again.
It's not delegated financial powers, is it?
No.
But
So that's not a viable solution, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Well,
I see, we could put it in the standing orders to allow us to.
well, you could do, but we're going to have to go away and look at the standing orders again. And then if you decide to have another committee next month, you'll have to go away and have a look at them again. And again, I thought we were going to look at all the committees in one go. Try and establish what we were going to be.
That's what we need to do, yes. I want to establish. Okay, all right. So that's a valid point. But if we have to review the standing orders, then we review the standing orders. We're not, the tail doesn't wag the dog here. So we need to have an agenda item for 3 weeks' time. I'm proposing that says, right, we've had a look at the working parties and have a look at where we're at. We need to determine these committees now. Okay. If you're worried about the delegated authority, because it does seem to be just yourself that's concerned about that, might I suggest be on that committee, and then you'll be able to influence and judge as a solution. But we're parking it for now. because we're going to review all of the committees at the one point, because we did say that's all we're going to do. Okay? Everyone okay with that? Alright, so 3 weeks' time, agenda item will be to agree and determine how we're going to structure the committees going forward.
So in the meantime, when there
proposal
are,
issue 1 and issue 2 are in place.
yeah, so when there are additional messages, that
It's only 3 weeks.
we've got Fun Day coming up, we might want to be pushing messages out about that. The road traffic working party might be wanting to encourage people to participate. I'm not necessarily saying we should push and do this now, but I'm just thinking
Right, so the
We're losing
committee's
time.
not going to be set up tonight.
okay,
So how do we, it's a valid point, how do we continue communications?
Can the working party not just carry on with doing the communication?
Well, no, because we've not got delegated
Another
powers.
so we need to come back and get it approved, which, if you want to do it by email, that's okay, it's not ideal, but
Problem with email is you can't guarantee 15 people have read that. And we got to a point 2 or 3 weeks ago when I just wasn't reading any emails because there was too many.
That isn't, yeah, and also we get lulled into this view that decisions are being made,
Yeah.
and they can't be.
influence.
Well, that's okay, you can discuss, and then come to a meeting with an idea, but you start thinking, but we decided on that last week, and of course you can't. So are there any other real issues between now and 3 weeks' time before we set up these committees, in terms of communications? We've got the open day, the fun day.
Fun day posters on the website. Magic. Yeah, and if you've got anything further, I can add it onto the website. Website.
So what's
Goes
that
on
on
Facebook.
The transport thing.
Transport.
well, there's just the working party set up to look at traffic, and we're trying to get people's views on that, and the way to do that is to put it out there and say, the town council would like your views, or would you be interested in, etc., etc.
I think we could probably do that
Okay.
via the social media sites that are available at the moment.
And we've just got to be a bit pragmatic for a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
Just councillor, and I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
visitors to a working party and someone unilaterally asking for your help.
Yeah. Anybody got any ideas? Just on that starting point.
Okay.
I think that in the overall sort of scope of communications, this is something that we've got to address, because we've got Central Beds tweet details of all of their committee meetings in real time. They don't have a committee meeting, I don't know how they run their Twitter. Other parish councils tweet from their meetings to get the message out, and yet we seem to be struggling even making the odd Facebook post on our own Facebook. So
Well, okay,
we're in a bit the dark ages. I don't know how we're going to square this.
I do. We're going to have a PR committee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's just a matter of timing.
but what I've just heard is in 3 weeks' time we'll have a PR committee, and we're also in 3 weeks' time talking about standing orders, and those standing orders are not going to allow us to delegate powers to the committee that we're setting up in 3 weeks' time, so it's going to
Why
be
not?
another 3 weeks.
No, the standing orders allow us to delegate powers to a committee. The issue is we need to look at them if we want to then have the ability to withdraw those powers. Is that correct?
Yeah, you'd have to modify your standing orders. But
Yeah.
there's no reason why the council couldn't give the committee delegated powers. You then have to reflect that in your standing orders.
I understand. So it's the withdrawing that's the problem.
That's what I thought, but yeah,
Right.
so our standing orders need to work the way we're structuring this council.
Indeed.
The current standing orders do allow for committees to be settled at the discretion of the council.
Okay, I can't quote them. Right,
Okay,
good.
I should have used different words. I should have not said withdraw, I should have said slap wrists. Because that's what it is, isn't it? To try and give all councillors some confidence that
We have
it's
some
not going to be
influence
some
and
kind of
control.
maverick.
Yeah, that we can pull.
I'm just a bit confused now, because the proposal was to set up a PR committee. We're saying we can't, but we will next time.
No, that was a red herring, a little, if with respect.
Yeah.
Basically, we want to set up a PR committee and we want to give them delegated authority. The opinion's divided whether we should do that. One solution is that we do it, but we have the ability to say, hey, that was wrong, and withdraw that delegated authority. to do that. Standing orders need to enable us to do that.
Our current ones do.
Then fine. They just need to be, it needs to be confirmed that they do.
Just on
Because you
the,
wrote them, didn't you?
You got
Yeah, but it's, I mean, we're going to have to amend them as we go through the rest of the year anyways.
That's true, and they can be amended at any
Of course
point.
they can, yeah.
just on the thing of giving some, I can't think of any words tonight. Will the committee, PR committee, will they have to be, these things that are posted will be decided by committee, not by individuals?
So delegated authority means that we say, get on with it.
But as a committee,
Yeah.
they would
Committee will have to meet before it.
before they can't
Pass a
publish
resolution.
anything unless they've had a resolution.
Not necessarily, you're agreeing the message. I think that could be done by email, and if you've got 4 or 5 people who all agree it's fine to go, it will go. You wouldn't meet to agree a message. That's the way I would envision it.
So the benefit of the delegated authority is things get done quicker. Yeah. The side effect is, you know, we entrust our committees, which I think we need to do, otherwise we're just not going to get through the work. So in 3 weeks' time, we'll be looking at the structure of the committees, and we'll be looking at those that we're going to give delegated authority to or not. So do come with an opinion, and we'll discuss it then. Is that okay? Yeah, because we're making decisions in 3 weeks' time. Fine, sorry. You're going to have this one on me. Okay? Alright?
Okay, so 1 is
One,
agreed,
two,
2's
agreed.
agreed, and do we agree to leave on the button £50, get it in July's edition?
That was 2, wasn't it?
Sorry,
Yeah,
2.
Yeah, so I think we agreed that as well.
We did.
It's just 3. The proposal to set up the PR committee is accepted, and we'll be looking at it in 3 weeks' time. Everyone understand what we've just done? Yeah.
So we're not setting it up now.
No. So the whole subject of the committees will be investigated, discussed in 3 weeks. Everyone okay? Everyone cool with that? Alright, so it wasn't a proposal, it's an agenda item, so I don't think we need to vote on that, do we? You capture that one, right? Well done.
I'll send the text through then, because I've noticed a couple of spelling mistakes.
Right, okay.
Well,
Can I
there's
add
parenthesis.
Can I add the bit on the bottom about
Yeah.
templates?
Okay, 20, communications channel with CBC, a proposal from Councillor Gravett.
Yeah, this really harks back to our first meeting, for those of you who were here, when there was some discussion, particularly between myself and Councillor Delgado, about the roles of the various bodies in the community, and the need for us, in my opinion, to be proactive with CBC. And I did subsequently have a one-to-one conversation with Councillor Delgado, which was very positive and quite informative as to how he saw the background, as how the community had got to the point that it had, and basically that was that the previous regime for some time had, in terms of their relationship with central beds, been passive and then occasionally reactive, and other parish councils, Fairfield was quoted, Henlow was quoted, where councils are proactive and receive much more benefit, support and interface with Central Beds Council. And so we're lacking there. We've had a clean sweep. We have an elected body, properly elected body, probably for the first time in 12 years. And I think it's important that we make the powers, the people within Central Beds, aware that our intent is to be very proactive. Our intent is to work with them and ensure that they work for the benefit of the whole of the Arlesey community. And I think we should do something about that, put a stake in the ground. I did consider that perhaps we should write to the Chief of the Council and the various portfolio holders which is one option we've got if we could draft something. The other would be for us to actually go and meet some of these people, or some of us to go and meet some of these people, and put the position of the new Arlesey Town Council to them, and make sure that all the portfolio holders and the people within Central Beds understand that we are the elected body, we are the voice of this community, we wish to be seen and treated as such, and we will certainly be responsive and we will be being proactive. I think we should put that stake in the ground, in fact, as soon as possible. Comments?
I actually did want to put an item on the agenda about communication with CBC. And one of the ideas I have was that I think that we should have delegated councillors to deal with different departments in CBC. On the main, obviously at some points other people, but so that we build up a relationship with that department, and they're not just dealing with names. We get to know the department that is in our responsibility.
It's really an enhancement of what you're thinking.
To some extent we've started that because we've got councillors wanting myself on the master plan committee, so that sort of thing. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think to enable that we should add that in, but I do think we need to make a move, because I would assume that Central Beds, other than maybe our ward councillors, are assuming it's business as usual or no business with Arlesey Town Council. So I think we need to change that.
Any other comments on what's been discussed?
I would like to say that I think you'll find that officers within Central Beds are well aware that there is a new council here, and I think they're quite keen to see where it's going to go. I would speak
Well, we learn a lot from us, you know.
in terms of engagement with the council, I mean, or the council engaging with them.
Any other comments? Anyone want to add anything to that? So, okay, since we've been received positively, is there a motion? Do we want to elect some people to interface? What's your, where's it go from now? What do you suggest?
Well, as I say, my initial view was crafting some kind of letter from the council to various people, but then, and I attempted to do that, and I don't know who the people are that we need, in total, we need to engage with, but then I thought that is still a bit passive. Let's go and knock on their doors. Let's say a group of us will go along, introduce ourselves,
So it's
introduce the
your
concept.
idea that we
Yeah.
say, right,
Yeah.
this is Mickey, that's
And
transport.
then ask the council to pick up on Kathy's point and say, who should we interface with regularly? And
Yeah.
Just another quickie suggestion, there's no reason why as a council, every second council, we couldn't invite one of these officers to come to this council to tell us who they are and what they do.
Good idea, yeah, that's a good idea.
starting
I
with
must admit, I was speaking to Highways today, and it's just so complicated, the different people, it's not, they're talking about different sections and dealing with different bits, and I think that we need to get to grips with that.
I think it would be useful for the public as well if they came here and say who they are and what they do, not only the councillors.
What's the quickest way forward? Getting them to come every 2 meetings is fantastic. It'll take a year to see 6 of them. It's a great idea, I think we should do it. But we want to get there a bit
It's the
quicker.
key people you need.
Yeah.
Key people. I could start lining some up if you like.
I think we'll table that as a motion. Hold on to that a minute. Put that forward as a motion.
Yeah, I'm agreeing that if we try and meet individual portfolio holders, it could take all year. I wonder whether we can, because we're new and we're naive, we can just ring up the deputy chair and say, can we have 40 minutes of your time?
and bring in your
And you
portfolio.
can tell us what CBC is about.
I think that's a good idea, but we're looking at, I think we need to meet the officers, the
There's two
people
things.
that make the decisions.
So there's 2 stages there.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, the deputy CEO,
Stage
Yeah.
one is to have the meeting.
Go and see the chairman.
Yeah, and so look, we're just councillors, we don't really know. All we know is we're not getting what we want. So tell us where we're going wrong, tell us where to start.
Oh, okay.
Can we, at the next meeting when we have our ward councillors here, request that they provide us with a list of who the portfolio holders are? Because that will, A, get us the information, but also send the message back through them.
I propose we don't wait. I propose we approach the ward council and get it now. It's published.
Okay,
They've all been appointed. Let's not wait for them.
So then there's
Isn't it not on their on the CBC website?
Yeah, it's about sending that message as well, that we want it.
But hang on, I think we're talking. I'm sort of big. Rob's idea that we go and meet the officers, I really like, because while the politicians make the decisions, it's the officers that deliver the solutions, and we want to have relationships with both.
Well, sometimes they can deliver without going to the other.
Delegated authority.
See,
No, but I think we need to have
my
relationships with
idea is more
transport.
about the officers, highways, and,
Yeah,
that's
it's the
my
people
So I
who
think we should
spend
do both.
money.
Yeah. So what's the quickest way of meeting? The ward councillors must be able to introduce us to the council
Should be able to provide us with a list.
and the portfolio holders
Yeah.
and solicit introductions. And in terms of the officers, do you think can you introduce us to them, accelerate that?
I can do. You need officers that would be beneficial to the council, obviously. And I suggest you've probably got a highways rep that's responsible for Arlesey. That'll be a good start.
Well, we know the things that worry us, don't we? Crime, the development, transport. What else?
Well, they have a community safety tasking group which larger town councils were invited to join. You know, I mean, and that is where this council can feed in any issues that they have in terms of antisocial behaviour, crime, any local issues.
Yeah.
It's fed into that committee, it goes in an action plan, someone has to action that, it's given to someone to action. That's got to be action before the next meeting. And it's followed through until the action's complete. But I don't think Arlesey Town Council put themselves forward to be on that.
Don't know.
Yeah, so that's what we need to find out, is how do we get back into that mode of communication.
But all the people that need to be on that are the police and the fire service and licensing and all these sort of people. They're all on there.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
And they're senior people, and they will be tasked with an issue, if there is an issue, and they'll be tasked to deal with it.
So, come on, let's have some ideas on how we start moving forward with this. In terms of the officers, does someone want to maybe you, maybe not you, start finding out?
Could I suggest, there's one guy at Central Beds, his name is Peter Fraser, and I'm sure Leslie knows who Peter Fraser is. Everybody goes through Peter Fraser, he knows everybody at Central Beds. He's an officer, he's quite a good officer actually. But anything you want to know, anybody you want to speak to, anybody you're trying to contact, he's a direct point of access. He was set up some years ago that councils like Arlesey and everywhere else could just go to him, say, look, we've got this issue, who deals with it, can you pass it on to them, etc, etc. He'd be a good place to start.
Okay, so who wants to talk to Peter and find out, consistent with what is, it looks like it's going to come back to you, Chris.
Why don't you and I go and meet him? Why don't we set up a meeting with him?
All right.
Chair and Vice Chair of the Council, new Council, tell him what we're about, tell him the proposals that Kathy's put forward, tell him the ideas that Rob's put forward, tell him what we're about as a council, and see what reaction we
He'd
get.
be happy to meet you, I'm sure.
Right, way forward?
Yeah.
Okay, and that will be for both sides. We've got our ward councillors, we can ask him about portfolio holders, how do we best deal with the council, see what he says, no reason why we shouldn't talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a proposal. I'll second it. Anyone against?
In parallel, do we want to be approaching the ward councils and asking for that? Because I think us going to them and saying, we'd like to know who is responsible for all these different areas. I think that will send the message back through the channels within Central Beds as well.
They will say direct it through them, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, that's okay. We can soon build relationships past them, can't we?
Yeah.
We're very good at that.
Yeah, I think it's
Well, if they say that, then
we do that.
That's okay. We need to work with them. Yeah. If they get in the way. So all those four proposals? Okay, that's unanimous. So Chris and I are going to meet, what was his name? Peter Fraser.
I'll send you scores after you.
Thank you. And start line of communication and share your ideas. Okay, is that matter closed?
Yeah, I think, just to pick up on Andy's point, I think to be fair, you might remember we went outside to talk about something else, but they brought this up. They're very supportive of us doing just that. There was no indication that they wanted everything to be channeled through them. There's no indication, they might do, but they were, the message I got was this council hasn't been proactive and hasn't been engaged with central beds for some years.
Okay, so item 21, discuss how, so this is an item that Chris has brought to the council, so this is in the public domain, isn't it? Shall I explain what we're trying to achieve here? So what we're trying to do here is discuss a matter as openly as we can, that if we top up going into detail, because it's to do with section 1(2) stuff, if we go into detail we may have to close the conversation and take it under pink paper, so we're trying to be as open as we can, so just bear with us.
So thank you. The first one should be quite easy without giving any examples. The second one may be more of a challenge. So the first one is when we have agenda items that are exempt, there is no reporting in the minutes of any decisions made or what the outcome of those were. I sent some email examples around of how other councils do this, and I believe it's possible that we can report on them in a way that does not compromise the confidentiality of the decision. Actually, the minutes we've got for the EGM on Tuesday the 26th of May are a good example. There are 4 agenda items that are exempt, and there's no resolution for any of them. 2 of them are literally to receive and approve minutes, and I don't see why we couldn't have reported as to whether those minutes were approved or not. That doesn't compromise the confidentiality of the discussion around them, but it does allow us to report on what happened in that closed session in a way that gives the people that weren't at that closed session some kind of confidence that the matter is being dealt with, or the matter still remains an issue and will be dealt with at a further point. And if it comes down to it, the wording of what can and can't be disclosed, because we're under closed session, can be discussed. You know, we can argue actually over what we're going to report in the minutes. So it's literally that simple to make sure that there is a report where possible on closed item 1, 2 discussions.
I don't think there's anything about that not to like.
And that's something that's quirky to the old Arlesey Town Council, because as you say, other town councils do it. I've read minutes where no confidentiality is breached, no detail that the public or press should not at that time be aware of is written, but a summary, it's not always that meaningful, but there is a summary, the minutes were received, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've looked at it.
Resolved that actions were taken and the item is still ongoing.
All other councils around here do exactly that when they have exempt items.
Okay. Nothing not to like about that, I think. Okay. Right.
So do you need me to propose that as a thing?
Well, I think we're actually stating that we're going to, as and when, we're going to share what we can as and when we can, which is stating the obvious, but for the avoidance of doubt, that's how we're going to continue.
And to be honest, the exempt agenda items of late have had a lot more information in them than they ever did historically.
We are trying.
So with Council Liverpool, we the office are doing it because there's details here which do not breach any confidentiality, but put in the public domain that we're talking about something and it has to be confidential.
But it's a fair observation that it may not have happened enough in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. There's a motion to be accepted there, is there? We're just going to do better.
Okay, that's fair enough.
You okay with that?
Yeah.